It's Tuesday, it's 3 p.m. I can't talk properly. That doesn't matter, because here's Jake with a Paradox Dev Clash.
Yes, because apparently I can talk properly from time to time.
That's why you're there.
Welcome back. It's 1.18, it's Rights of Man, and it's the developer multiplayer session of Europa Universalis 4. Now, I think we've got a full roster today. I haven't double checked. Would have been too professional for me to do that, but our developers are going to be fighting it out. This is session 3. It is 3, right?
I think it's 3. Yeah.
We're going to go with 3. And yeah, we can see that our players are really forming their little power blocks here. I really have to take this starting moment to hand it to the letter Z, though. They got utterly trashed by Denmark in the first session. They got reduced to pretty much just Finland and Stockholm, and they have made such a comeback. They are almost as strong as when they started the game. It's truly incredible. So welcome everyone. This is a live build, very much, well, things could go wrong. This is always what we start off with. We're not afraid of showing off the game in development, but as usual, we hope it doesn't. 1.18 Rights of Man, and probably after a few seconds we are going to get going here. So we'll do a quick rundown again. We have the letter Z up here in Sweden. They managed to fight back and take back a lot of their land. Some very impressive rebel play ensured that they didn't even have to fight for all of that land over in Scandinavia. We have Muscovy, who came away from a defeat at the hands of Poland. Not a disastrous defeat, though. I gotta say, Poland-Lithuania came off pretty badly from that. And our Muscovite player Trintragula, aka our scripting guru, is working their way down through the Golden Horde. This is making me very sad, since this is the most beautiful AI Golden Horde I think I have ever seen. But still, it's cutthroat here in these developer multiplayer sessions. We are playing for score. And you have to come in the top 3 if you want a trophy, which means sacrifices have to be made, even if it means killing off the most beautiful Golden Horde. So yes, speaking of the same Poland, who managed to defeat Muscovy, albeit by spending all of their manpower and exhausting a whole bunch of their resources. Yes, IHKI is coming along pretty well, but they are in a precarious situation, since they have the Ottomans right there as their neighbour, who really has a knife ready to stab, because if Poland starts doing things that Grugi does not like, then Grugi can use their massive amounts of power to go and stab them with their new Ottoman mechanics that they have. Yeah, they have their harem system that they have, that's pretty much ensuring that the line remains strong and that the seed is strong for the Osman Oglus. Well, I would say that, but seems they managed to get a pretty terrible heir, but it's still Osman Oglu all the way for them. So yes, Grugi has a lot of power at his disposal. The East is very much open to him, but that said, he's always one to throw the curveballs. Grugi has decided that he wants to look west, and that is why you can see some Turkish delight over here. The Turk Islands, of course, taken and controlled by the Ottomans, and they are working their way around. It seems they've gone exploring a fair bit as well. And the ends to this was that they managed to get a major colonial port over in Albania. If we have a wee looky over institution-wise, yes, here we go. It was the birthplace of colonialism, because the Ottomans decided that they were going to be seafarers and head out to the New World. Working our way through the players, we have Starnan, who has had a really terrible run of luck. They got the Union over Hungary, lost it almost immediately. They've got it back now. We'll see if they can hold on to it, and they don't have 000 on the throne anymore. I know that they were sharing more than their fair amount of salt over that one. IHKL says that the Golden Horde will not fall. Okay, before we can even get around through all of the players, Poland-Lithuania is gunning down Muscovy. They're trying once again for Muscovy, and they have brought plenty of cannon this time. In fact, they are only 2 cannon regiments short of getting the full bonus. I don't think Moscow is going to hold all that well, unless Muscovy can react fairly quickly. Muscovy still at war with the Golden Horde, but not with so much not with so much war score that they could piece out with them all that easily. At least it doesn't seem so. 12%. I think the Golden Horde will... Oh, well, this is bad news for Muscovy. They're getting destroyed here. They're going to try to make their last-ditch attempt to save Moskva. The PLC know that that's coming, and they are ready with their defenses. They are not so ready with a great general, though. They're led by their own monarch, 0222. But that 4 shock from the Russians could prove fatal for them. But at a glance, it doesn't look so good for the Poles. Those cannons are great for sieging, but they are terrible in combat at this stage in the game. So it looks like, yes, the Poles are sent running away. Okay, we will come back to this war, because we know it gets pretty drawn out between Poland and Lithuania. That was quite a disastrous defeat for the Poles. But Muscovy didn't come away unscathed, and they're still involved in other wars. If we check diplomatically, it looks awfully red for them. That said, Sweden have not come in yet with their mighty army, which for some reason is going over to Södermalm, renamed Stockholm to name it after the best part of Stockholm, clearly. So yes, Mr. Nibbles, the rusty veteran, he's just doing his own thing. He's taken over his homelands. And seems to be having a pretty good relationship with Grugi, but then just about everybody who's around him is going to have to, since Grugi has a lot of power at his fingertips, and that's a dangerous thing. We also have the France, Burgundy, and England trio at each other's throats, no doubt. England wants to ensure that there's no major power blocks happening here. So we'll see if any of them are going to kick it off between each other. And then we have Castile and Portugal, who have assured me that they are looking for a nice, peaceful session this time. We'll see how peaceful we can get, since France does have their clutches down in Catalonia and Navarra. It was a good shout by France to seek the vassalization of Navarra ASAP. A new heir of the glorious Roman Empire. Succession shall be Mehmet III. Okay, 144, doing considerably better than the previous Osmanoglu we had there. Not quite Mehmet reincarnate, but acceptable. So there's our players in Europe. Over in Africa we have Imse, who's been playing it kinda quietly. They've gone and gotten a colony down south. Is that because they took colonization ideas? Well, they took exploration, so yes they can. And our Europeans are staking their claim in Africa already, at least along the coastline. France bounding their way down south, perhaps wanting to meet up with the strongest of players, which is not Stronghai. Stronghai doing very well for themselves, granted. But this whole area can be a playground for that nation. Now, if we go further south, we have mighty Luba. Luba has been the true yo-yo nation out of all of this. Gotta hand it to Bjorn. The first session was disastrously bad for him. The second session, where he very cleverly set everything up so that the AI can do things just right. Yes, the AI made quite the comeback, took back more lands, and then sadly lost them all. But hey, they're back. They've got a good alliance with Strongo over here. They'll consolidate their power, no doubt, and I have every faith that Bjorn will make Luba incredible. Here's hoping that they foster a good relationship with a European, potentially France, to get that spread of institution. Now, it wouldn't be a player rundown if we didn't look over at Wizington. Yes, back by popular demand. Wiz himself is piloting Ethiopia to enjoy the new Coptic mechanics here. So he's enjoying some monks establishing monasteries and the will of the martyrs to boost his nation, ensuring that he is spreading that Coptic love. And for that, he has to make his way north and secure Alexandria for himself. Now, Mamluks are begging for peace, but I think Ethiopia will be taking a piece, a very big piece, of the Mamluks. So yes, Wiz just could not tear himself away. He has a very, very good track record when it comes to EU4. Fittingly, I believe he has 4 trophies of varying size on his desk, just so that when everybody walks past his desk, they see the legend before the man himself. So yeah, he's dropping in. We do not know what his long-term goal will be with regards to the Ottomans. We do know that they have a nice healthy alliance. But how long can such an alliance hold? Perhaps they have a border agreed, maybe even the Syrian border, where the Ethiopians are allowed to maybe go as far as Jerusalem, who's to say? I have not probed this far into their agreements, but Ethiopia is going to have no problem establishing a nice power base here. They can go south and get that sweet Mutapan gold without too much of a bother, I strongly suspect. Now, I'm sure it would be very offensive to anybody if I missed them out, but I think we've gone over all of our players. We can see what all the players can see here. It's a good enough reason to get back looking at that PLC versus Russia war. And as we can see, shattered retreat from the Poles again. Now, they have a fair few loans. If we look over to Russia, they have a fair few more loans. They're even more in debt. But the Russians know they just have to defend Moscow here. Their forts are not set up in a truly ideal way to prevent the PLC from really moving in. But they know that they need to grab Moscow. And as long as Moscow is as well defended as this, they're not going to have any problems. Trintragula knows that he can just let the Golden Horde simmer there. Golden Horde is no big threat to them right now, technologically on par. But when push comes to shove, Muscovy can and will force them out. And he will just have to take his time to take over the Tartars. He could settle for peace. Oh, well, there we go. The tribes are rising up, so it is not the best of days for the Golden Horde. May seem like I'm focusing on them, but I do love me some Golden Horde. Jake, you forgot about poor little Castile. I touched on Castile. They're just trying to have a nice peaceful game alongside Portugal there. So, between the two of them, it seems that Muscovy isn't facing too much of a deficit. And if we look over at Poland, not too bad. Losing money, granted, and they are enjoying some loans there. But how are they going to manage this? Because they're both tapped out on manpower. But Muscovy need only survive. I want to check in on the Ottomans because they have this incredible way of being the puppet master in these PLC Russian wars. But it doesn't look like they're subsidizing either of them unless I'm very blind. They're using their influence on Portugal. And it doesn't look like they're renting out condottieri to either side, whereas before they funded one side whilst condottieriing the other. So we'll see how Poland manages to deal with this, because what is the war that they have declared this time? They attacked them in the Polish reconquest of Kulm. So what they did was they released Novgorod, and it's still early in the game. Novgorod have cores all over Muscovy, and since there's now just been a recent war, those cores are going to stay around for a long time. With that kind of approach, it's clear that Poland wants to completely chop up Muscovy. The Swedish forces don't seem very keen on getting involved, strangely enough. They're just chilling around over in Finland. They're starting to march over now, of course, but there could be a lack of communication between the two parties here. Now, unfortunately for Poland, very unfortunately for Poland, they are technologically very inferior here. We check in, they do not have that extra infantry fire or cavalry shock, and that's fairly big numbers, especially that cavalry shock. That really ensured Muscovites grinding the Poles and Lithuanians to dust when it came to the defense of Moskva. Now we're being asked by Stormtrooper 967 to check the Ottoman American, please. He says, absolutely, we can. I have my eyes on the Twitch chat. It is right there. Yeah, you can see that on camera as well. Nice. It's right there. Just tag us with @Paradox Interactive if there's something you must scream at us. Now, if you've always wanted a nice Caribbean holiday home and you're part of Turkey, well, here you go. Baracoa over to the Ottomans. Of course, they had to make their way for the Turks' islands first. But hey, it looks like their playground very much, except here come the English. They're so sick of being at home on their island where it is cold and rainy, they've decided we need a nice place to go. They started experimenting over in Canada. That didn't work out so well. They actually tried Greenland. If we chop over here, They attempted to colonize here, but it was so incredibly slow. Well, it was a glacial Arctic area, didn't go so well for them. They've decided now these warm islands are much better, and that development, well, no doubt. Being asked what's going on in Egypt as well. So yes, Ethiopia is gobbling up this land. I want to see how they're doing in terms of that. They don't have claims on it, but if I know Wiz, I need to actually check Ethiopia here. Yes, he took religious ideas, which means he will have access to the Holy War casus belli, which is a very, very powerful casus belli, especially since it's available right at the start. And if you're in a religiously diverse area, and the Copts are frankly always going to be in that situation, since all around them they have the Muslims or other Christians or the fetishists, all to gobble up with that Holy War casus belli. So yes, Ethiopia, they'll be going for the 100% war score and taking whatever they please here, no doubt. Quick religious overview, not terribly much changing. The Ottomans not going for full tolerance around here. They want to make sure that everybody abides by their teachings. So they're working through this, which kind of works against their whole tolerance of heathens. But I guess in the long run, I guess Grugi just watched a lot of Police Academy. Right, checking out Poland once again. They are marching their way through. He's had to increase... wait, something was going on there. Sounded like a core being made, though. It's difficult because he's always going to be grinding through attrition here in Muscovy. Whereas the Russians can sit back, hidden under the fog of war, and pretty much do hit and run. Then again, you are looking at a lot of units here. I'm not so sure the Russians are going to pull through this. The Tartars are all making a comeback here. The Golden Horde and their good friends the Timurids are going to be encroaching in the south here. And it doesn't seem like the Ottomans are getting involved in here. No, sir, they're just busy settling their new holiday homes. We're being asked, why does England still have land in France? So France wants the English lands back, and England wants the other English lands back. There is the idea that it is simply a pretender on the throne in France. Yes, Daniel, he's only a 233. He's not fit to rule. Lancaster 420, far more fit to rule in France, but we shall see. We have the three here performing their own power balance, but you might say, and we're looking at this from a multiplayer perspective here, why not just slug it out so that you know who's the winner and they will take over? Well, if those three keep fighting each other, they're only going to bog each other down. They won't be able to expand, and that is going to make everybody around them proportionally more strong and leave them very much open to Austrian or Castilian intervention. So they're having something of a status quo. France did lose, or rather did gain Labourd. There was another war going on, and there was an exchange of provinces going on. There was also an exchange where England would get the Azores at 1500. We've passed that. They've gotten it. They've only made it a territorial core because that's all they need. They wanted the range to be able to get over here to these far more lucrative islands. Wonderful. I am very curious if Sweden is actually getting involved here, because they all just seem to be stuttering around to the north and not really getting involved. That said, the Poles pushed back once again, pushed further into debt. Well, they will be soon. Those reinforcements on mercenaries are not free. If we have a look at them, they are very beaten back. And a significant lack of cavalry is what we're seeing here as well. If we have a quick look at the makeup of the Polish army, only 3 of their cavalry. That's a little sad to see. Granted, they do not have their massive combat ability for cavalry already, but they do get cheaper cavalry from the start. They've gone for defensive ideas because they want that extra morale. The Muscovites have gone the same way. But I think Poland has made a mistake in going for more of their defensive ideas. They should have been pushing that into their military technology so that they could be on par here. If we look over at the Russians, well, they will be hitting Tech 9 certainly before the PLC does. Greek. Long live Emperor Regency Council for the Ottomans. Yeah, it's almost impressive that Grugi managed to fall into Regency Council. It's probably because he kept killing off his heirs, but that's the thing with the Ottoman harem, that you're going to have a few different heirs and you get to pick between them. It ensures that the Osmanoglu line always stays strong. Mehmet had died, now family joined with Allah in heaven. Taking over when he's 12, how traditional. It's quite a funny poke at how Mehmet breaks the rules there. So what do we have going on here? We have mighty Ardalan facing off. It is a battle between the subjects here. Perm, subject of Muscovy, fighting off against Ardalan, subject of Timurids, and Ardalan proving to be superior here. So whilst the Russians have certainly got the Polish and Lithuanians on the back foot here, they are now being invaded Mongol style. Okay, this is quite wonderful. Come on, Golden Horde, I'm rooting for you. Nothing against you, Trintragula, but you should not have picked with that Golden Horde. Yeah, just too beautiful. Look at all this wonderful Norwegian land you had. Checking it out to see if we have any other wars going on. Yeah, we got Wissington, we have Strong Kai. Growing and growing, but they have no problems with that whatsoever. I'm certain we can check that coalition-wise. The fun thing about fighting in this region of Africa, for example, they are Sunni, so the other Sunnis don't care that they eat up the fetishist land, and the fetishists don't mind when they eat up the Sunni land. Now, when it comes to fetishist nations, bear in mind we did flesh out fetishist mechanics here in Rights of Man. We got Luba for that. I want to check them out. So they have the cult of Mawari. We honor the great god of Mawari, who created the world from nothing and who makes mountains tremble when he speaks. Mawari is the only true god, and his oracle, the voice on this earth, is our ruler. So a bit of a discipline boost for Luba there. Hopefully they put that into use, but they're just chilling out with their zebras and their giraffes and their 23 development. An interesting strategy that they're using here. They are not quite embraced with feudalism, so that means that technologically they are sitting on a very hefty penalty. It's high time that we actually had a look at how institutions are doing overall. I think we're going to cut over to the Ottomans, since they have the best view of the world, what with the exploring and starting out with view all the way to Beijing. So what do we got here? Let's have a look at it. So we got feudalism. Now feudalism starts in most of the old world. It's only really tribal lands that don't have it, but the Golden Horde have embraced it because the Golden Horde are so strong. Even the tribal lands over in Arabia, the tribes of India, they've all got it. The Timurids start actually able to embrace it. They just lack the money to do so. So they can either let it spread or generate some money. And by generate, I mean pillage that money. And it's even working its way down through tribal parts in Africa. Yeah, see, we've got Mali there. I want to check the Renaissance though. Now, the Renaissance spawned right here in Cremona, and it spread like wildfire. Now that popped about 50 years ago. So anybody that currently does not have the Renaissance embraced has the full whack of 50% tech penalty from it. That is nobody in Europe, pretty much. Sadly, the Golden Horde, but they'll get there. They'll get there. Malwa has the Renaissance going on there, and Gujarat, they've got their own little Renaissance happening. Oman as well, pretty swell. Doesn't look like we have any of it spreading over in the Ming. Might as well get some real numbers on that though. Ming, tell me about the Renaissance. Okay, so Yangzhou and a bit of a Renaissance spread in Korea. Interesting, very interesting. But I also want to check colonialism. Again, we'll check from the Ottomans here, because colonialism... Daniel wants you to check colonialism. All in due time. If we look over at colonialism, it of course spawned right here and it is spreading throughout the Ottoman lands. The Ottomans have quite a large amount of land, so they need it to spread quite a bit there. But France does not have that problem. France has gained colonialism and embraced it. So all the French provinces have colonialism, and if they conquer new lands, then colonialism is going to spread to those new provinces pretty quickly. I believe it's about 10 years. So how is it spreading otherwise then? Since it's all over these French provinces, that means Burgundy, for example, they're not getting it growing here much at all. They do get it over here in Picardy, though, growing pretty quickly because it's a port and it's neighbouring another province that has colonialism. And it's got some good growth modifiers as well: the port, the peace, the stability, and of course being part of a state. France used their salt money, I guess. France is fairly rich. Last I checked, France was building plenty of buildings. Looks like they've erected temples across the way, and I think, yeah, they've chosen strategic areas for marketplace, which means they probably have one over in... Oh, wait, no, Gascony is still English, and no marketplace there. How are we doing religiously? Still looking pretty nice and Catholic. Excellent. I want to get back to the PLC versus Russia war, the war that just never ends. They have gone, okay, forget this. Everything is going into Muscovy now, and they've managed to get a general who is a defensive planner. I want to touch on that here. So yeah, we have the defensive planner who receives less shock damage. So as long as Gustav, I'm not even going to try that name, but he's really, really good. Not only does he have a 4 shock, he is defensive because he has those leader traits from Rights of Man. The young imperator, the dominance of the Coptic Church over Alexandria and the nearby lands. Oh, okay, so our Ottoman Emperor recognizes the Coptic rule of Alexandria. So let's touch on how that's working for Ethiopia and for Wissington over there. So, we've been through the Coptic faith mechanics before. Just quickly, we have the 5 holy sites, and they need to be controlled by and have the state religion of, the province religion of Coptic. So Kazir Ibram and Axum fulfill that criteria. Alexandria is controlled by a Coptic nation, but it is still Sunni. They're going to core it, because I'm sure they don't want to sit on the corruption from it. And after that, they are no doubt going to try to convert that as quickly as possible. They have religious ideas. They also have the monks' blessing. So they're not going to have any problems over there. I am certain of that. Okay, Muscovy's looking a little in danger here. Moscow has fallen. And now the PLC are on the aggressive. Golden Horde still pouring in here. And now we have a real lack of war score against the Mongols. Ooh, jings. I keep saying Mongols, but I should address them truly as the Golden Horde or even the Great Horde. What do we have going on for them? So with that terrible war score, Muscovy would have to surrender a lot of land for the Golden Horde to be satisfied. That's probably not something that they're looking to do. But this is good news for Poland. They did time this war pretty well, although some of the battles went less than stellar. They've gotten it together. So we've got a pause going on. I should check in and see what's the dealio there. Okay. Alright, seems we got one of the people crashing out. We're going to see if we'll rehost for them. Seems that something was going on for England, so I'm just waiting to see what the call is. It's such a change to see Muscovy, the one that's being forced to run away. It seems that perseverance has worked out for the PLC here. The Great Russian Partition. Much as I like Trintragula, he should have fought back. And he should not have picked a fight with a Golden Horde. Pick a fight with a Golden Horde and you just lose. Okay, so we got a rehost going on then. So we'll just flip to a cover screen until we're ready to get back, which will be as soon as possible.
Do you want to get back into this game, Jake?
Oh, I really want to get back into the game.
There you go.
Oh, hello everyone. I was just taking a moment to stretch out.
No rest. No rest forever.
Man, I'm a broken man. I've been assembling furniture all weekend, you know. Okay, so what, now we're showing off the super secret behind-the-scenes lobby loading action.
Well, I mean, it's what the people want.
It's what y'all came for, I'm certain.
And also because Twitch chat was like, "Oh no, Jake, what are you doing?" It
See, I was going to indicate that maybe you could do like the actual behind-the-scenes cam.
Oh well, I can do that too. Hang on. I just have to find it.
They got cameras all over me here, guys. There's no escape.
There you go.
Oh man.
Yeah, so I'm sure everyone can see at this point that we've set up some extra chairs for well after the game, as it were. Let's see if we can squeeze in even more people today.
Yeah, so we got seating for 2, 4, 6. Well, I'm sure we'll still get crowded down here.
Yeah, people are gonna lean in on the side like they normally do. But it's always interesting to see how many people we can fit in, because I'm almost like, sure, 5 or 6 will be good enough, and then nope,
Yeah,
nope,
like 12
everyone's
people
coming
come
down, which is great. But my main concern has always been, let's not have people block each other if they're in frame. I remember the first stream. I think Martin came in and he was totally blocked by Johan. He couldn't see anything, but he was there.
Okay, so before we get back into the game, we got Big War, Poland versus Muscovy. Who's going to win?
Poland versus Muscovy. I'm going to go with Muscovy.
Okay. You're wrong, but thanks for the...
Well, I mean, you're the expert, not me.
Yeah. I think it's grim times for Muscovy unless somebody... I kind of trust Grugi to march in here and do something unforeseen.
Muscovy's fine. They'll do great.
They messed with the wrong horde. Okay, it looks like we're getting ready to get back into the game, so...
Let's get back into the game.
Alright, all players have arrived. We're back into this. And since I saw the Luba flags, I was scrolling down here. I really want to go and check out how they're doing. Come on, Bjorn. Crush them. Okay, he's got truces. Crush them anyway. Right. The main conflict going on right now, it is between Poland and Muscovy. It's looking pretty grim for Muscovy. It's interesting here, though. They have their army. It is completely surrounded by the Timurids and, of course, Ardalan. Never underestimate how hard they are. Now, it's going to be a pretty hard fight for the Horde here, because he gets some penalties for fighting in the forests, but I still think they can cleave through the Russians. Jengs, that is the main Russian army, and they are getting stomped on, not by the PLC, but by the Hordes. You can tell I love the Hordes in this game. We're being asked who England is at war with. England is deciding that Norway is going to be their new home. Since Sweden has been kept weak, it seems that quite a lot of Europeans are staking their claim over in Scandinavia. Denmark getting chewed up by Burgundy, Norway by England, and Sweden. They have almost connected the two parts of Sweden together. They just need these places that I will not dare attempt to pronounce. So peace has been signed. Muscovy knows that they cannot keep this going on two fronts. They must absolutely get everything together to try to fight back against the Golden Horde and the Timurids. Me oh my. I wanted to just double check and make sure we weren't on hard mode, but we are not. Come on, Golden Horde. You are the best Horde. Golden Horde is probably my favorite nation in the game to play, just because it's so much action right off the bat. And Trintragula is feeling that. Now they have Poland utterly slicing through their country. That means a lot of this land is now pretty much had its fate sealed. They have made peace with the Golden Horde. I do not know what that peace was because I am very blind, but let's have a quick check. If I had to guess, it was all these non-core provinces that the Golden Horde took. Tula, Kasimov, RoM. And yeah, that other one, which I could try to pronounce, but nay. However, Muscovy does keep their subjects, Muscovy and Perm. Muscovy might just hope to integrate Perm and perhaps colonize their way out of this mess, because that Golden Horde is so beautiful. I'm genuinely tearing up at how beautiful that Golden Horde is. I know that Trintragula is probably not going to be impressed with me fawning over the Golden Horde, but too good. Just too good. Alright, with the only other war going on right now, we have England crushing Norway. They're not going to have any problems at all here. Checking it out, England also have the advantage when it comes to military technology, yet they have no trouble at all. Great Poland, you wanted to destroy a monster, you created a new one. I want some defense of that Golden Horde going on. Well, I could say that, but no, the Golden Horde is perfectly capable of defending themselves. What Poland got out of all this, of course, was Novgorod, who at the time only had Ingermanland and Neva. They have now managed to get back 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 provinces, unless I'm terrible at counting, which includes the mighty Novgorod itself. Yeah, 777 development, pretty damn good. I think that might even be boosted from the start. I know Muscovy gets a mission to take them over, which does boost the development of Novgorod. I think they might have gotten that to make it even better. Can't be 100% sure. Jake, you should probably play as the Golden Horde. If I had the power to jump in and play as the Golden Horde, I certainly would. One loan, and they even have the money to pay it back, so they're not even in debt. And what I really love, they got another subject. What is with this guy? 443 ruler. He's got loose lips, but why would he even need tight lips? He can just declare he's going to fight whatever he wants. Maintaining a good, strong relationship with the very strong Timurids. The Timurids have not fallen apart to the Persians, which is great news because they, should the Ottomans decide to expand this way, at least put up a bit of resistance. Maybe even clogging up Grugi so that he can be attacked by others such as Ethiopia and Poland. Poland is no doubt looking for an opportunity to crack the Ottoman spine since they are forever going to be a threat. No, we do not need to search for anything there. I pressed F for find provinces when what I was trying to do was pay respect to that incredible Golden Horde. We're being asked for the technology map mode. Absolutely, you just throw things into the Twitch chat because I got my eyes on it if you need to see things. So, technologically, Austria is the shining beacon, which is amazing given they had that 000 rule for a while. So the top players, or the top nations, are bragging 9 in all techs. So most of the other ones are hovering around 7, 8. Poland struggling on the tech front, but to be fair, they've been spending their points on destroying one of the other players. Things look bad for Muscovy, but they're still in one piece, so let's not forget that. So yes, people will probably want to see the rest of the world technologically. That's what I got that button for. So yeah, Europe looking the greenest of the lot, but it's not too bad in the rest of the world. In fact, some could reliably say that it's almost as good, bearing in mind that in 1444, only tribal nations, and those in the New World, which, well, they are tribal, were facing any of this tech penalty. Trying to bite my tongue because the Africans don't start with feudalism at all, but those that are feudal at least have it growing in their capital from the start. But as the time goes on, the tech penalty will get worse. So if we were to jump over to, I don't know, let's pick Orissa. I like Orissa. Don't have their achievement though. And we check them out. So they do not have the Renaissance, and they do not have colonialism, which means they're tanking a 56% tech penalty. So that's going to be slowing them down, at least compared to the Europeans for now. So Johan over in England, he has secured Oslo for himself. It's going to give him plenty of war score against the Norwegians. 73, he can probably take whatever he wants right now. I don't know what it is he wants, but if I had to hazard a guess, he wants the islands here. I don't know if he's actually going to be going for a mainland takeover here. He could, but the question is, does he want to go away from his islands? Because that's more mainland stuff to defend. I can't be sure about that one. I'm sure he'll be coming down to explain the reason behind his rhyme later on. Looking to the New World though, he's going for the really tasty provinces of Baltimore, but perhaps he wants to make his way over to Delaware. So who do we have that's established themselves in the New World? No, that is not some kind of resurgent Byzantine blurple popping up there. That's just a migrating tribe. So looks like we have Turks, Englishmen. Yeah, between the two of them, they're sharing the New World. It's a scary thought, isn't it? No Portuguese, no French, no Castilian. They're focusing on Africa. People do come to me for advice on this every now and then, and I have given a fair bit of colonial-related advice, so without spoiling what it is, I say it appears that they're going for it, which is rather good. Good for them. Delaware was noticed. My people, says Flinless in the chat. Oh man, I cannot read from here. Alright, so I've got an incoming transmission here from Trintragula, lamenting the loss of Perm gold. So yeah, Perm used to have Bashgrid, or Bashgird. Not all that highly developed, but they've lost it now, so Perm won't be... If Perm couldn't take on Ardalan in the previous war, they certainly aren't doing it ever again. Oh man, I like Ardalan. Thankfully they're not the ones being absorbed by the Timurids, but the Timurids would be absorbing them very quickly, no doubt, because they already have a core on Ardalan, which make that pretty cheap. It's getting worse and worse for Muscovy. They are no longer going to be a great power in 3 years unless they can climb their way back up. Ooh, that's not so good. We also have more wars going on. Starnan taking on the Italians, of course, why wouldn't he? Since it's no longer part of the HRE, there's not going to be that added aggressive expansion. Jarabek is asking about achievements that require westernization. Those have all been modified to fit with the new rules. Couldn't go over each of them, but rest assured they have been checked to work with the new institutions system. So yeah, Austria is just gunning this down. They're not going to have any problem with that whatsoever. The Ottomans, though, seems they are going east as well. They want to tear their way through what's left of Karakiyunlu. Maybe pick a fight with the Timurids. If they pick a fight with the Timurids, they also pick a fight with the Golden Horde, but I'm confident that the Ottomans are going to have plenty of military might to deal with that. Which makes me sad, because I've said it many times before, I'm going to keep saying it. Golden Horde looking great there. I wanted to click on something that popped up there, but it seems that Grugi hit it before me, so I'm not going to go into what that was, but it was an interesting thing, because I'd hazard 99.9% of you have not seen the alert that popped up there before.